All right, folks, welcome back to part 2 of Project Poor Man here. We're all set up with our Lee hand press with the Lee resizing die here. We have some of our brass here ready to go from the Starline bag. One of the things I like to use when I'm reloading is a lot of these little containers that, things like nuts or pretzel nuggets or stuff like that, snacks and stuff. Come in and, once I finish eating the cashews or whatever, just make sure that you clean it out real good with soap and then let them air dry. I find these useful for reloading because I can kind of see what's in there. And then if I know I'm going to walk away for a while, like let's say I want to prep some brass and come back to it later, maybe even years later, I can slap a label on it, 45 ACP brass, resized and expanded and cleaned, and then I kind of know what's going on there, so I come back to it later. And then the other thing I like to use is the top here is handy. I can pour some brass into it whenever I'm doing my thing. With the brass here, a lot of times this new brass that you get right out of a bag, can you use it right out of the bag without resizing it? I've done that myself plenty of times, and haven't run into too many issues. But sometimes a lot of this factory brass, it might not be, maybe there's some things that are off or it got dinged up in shipping or, whatever, or it's not, perfect. So sometimes it is better just to go ahead and reload it. You can always check it in a case gauge. This is my original 45 ACP Lyman case gauge. And if it's okay, I could probably shoot it okay and everything would be fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and resize all this real quick. It ain't going to take too long. And doing this on the camera, it's a little more complicated because, if I was just doing it in my lap, I could bang it out a lot quicker. And then usually what I'll do is I'll just put like a clean 5-gallon like Lowe's bucket or something like that down below me, and I just let the brass drop into it. So what I'll do is I'll just do a bunch of them at a time. So we went ahead and just got that resized and then just pop it back open, take it out. So it functions just like a regular reloading press, same deal if you've never used one of these before. And, that's as easy as it is, really. And then the other thing, too, is we can go ahead and just check, make sure everything is okay here. And we'll just check one here. In the case gauge, everything should be fine, and it is. So yeah, pretty simple with this. And as you can see too, you can pretty much take this just about anywhere. So even if you don't have a bench to work on, really, literally you could do this at a picnic table. You can do this at a small, if you have like a small fold-up stand. If you have a small fold-up table, sometimes those are nice and cheap. You obviously need a little kitchen table, pretty much anywhere that you have a little bit of space, and really you don't even need a bench. You can sit in a chair and do it. Whenever I first was doing this, I had some old wooden chair I was sitting in, and literally did not have a bench or anything. And so whenever I was doing this, I was just dropping the brass right down into a bucket whenever I finished resizing it or whatever I was doing. And yeah, it's that easy. So we'll go ahead and get these resized here real quick with our Lee hand press. Shouldn't take too long at all. And especially once I stop the camera, it should go faster without me talking and all that stuff and concentrating on that. So, but you can see, pretty easy. And yeah, you'll get a little bit of a workout, but then who doesn't need a workout? So it's not all a bad thing. Okay, folks, so we went ahead and got the 100 pieces right here resized. Took me about 15 minutes or less, so you can see not much time at all. And it's just a reminder, like for you guys that, hey, if you're just starting out, don't have a lot of money, you went to the range, you shot a box or two of ammo, save your brass. And the thing is look how quickly we can go ahead and with just the hand press and a few other tools and stuff, we're going to end up basically being able to replicate those factory loads, so or close to it. So that's why you always save your brass. And like I said, you can see how quickly, it doesn't take much time. and it doesn't take a huge amount of resources to do it. The other thing is the Lee instructions here. These days I think they do them in color, but this is what I like with Lee is they they do real good with the instructions and plenty of everything you need to know about setting up the dies, so that's good there. So yeah, now we're going to move on to expanding and get the expanding die set up here with our hand press and get to it. Okay folks, so we got our expanding die all set up, and with this, whenever you expand whichever one of these that you're using, we want to expand it just enough to where whenever we sit this right down in here, that it's going to pretty much stay, all right? Because whenever we go to actually seat it, we don't want to run into any issues where the bullet is crashing down on the case mouth here or anything like that. So just got to set up this die just enough so that this just sits nicely, just like that. And we are good to go. And then with expanding with the hand press is the one thing with it is that whenever you go to expand, there really isn't a heck of a lot of force involved. Now with the hand press here, the one thing that's going to happen is whenever you go to do it is getting it out, there's just going to be like this little pop, kind of like popping a wine cork out of the bottle. So you're just going to have that little effect. It's a little bit difficult to do it here with the camera. That kind of complicates things. But it doesn't take really a lot of energy. It's just that last little bit there. Just to kind of pop it out. Some folks might not like to expand that much. You'll hear different things out there. For me, like I said, I like to get it just enough where that right here is just going to sit nice and comfortably in the case. So that's what I always look for, and that's what I always do. And you'll find once you get in a rhythm with this, you should be able to bang these out pretty fast. It's not going to take long at all to do. So we'll go ahead and get cracking on this and get the camera out of the way to make it easier. And then we will move on and wrap up here in the next step. Okay, folks, so we went ahead and got all 100 pieces here expanded. And I went ahead and I did check a couple of pieces along the way to make sure everything was looking good. So we expanded that brass, so this will fit nice and neat down in there whenever we go to actually seat it. So everything's looking good there. Took me a little bit longer than resizing, and if I was to do it again, I'd do it like I did it back in the old days. I would just put a clean 5-gallon bucket on the floor, and then once it came out of the press, just drop it right into the bucket. It just makes it flow a lot better. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our primer tool out. And like I said, I haven't used this for years, so we'll see how this goes. If this doesn't work out for some reason, I have my regular bench mounted tool that we can use. But we'll go ahead and get this all set up, and then I need to figure out that Lee, which one of these shell holders that we need to use for 45 ACP. So I'll figure that out and get the tool set up, and then we'll get started with that. Okay, folks, so it's time to move on to priming here. So we have our 2.5 large pistol primers. Now, I've never used these before, so this is going to be all new using these. So we will see how this works out. There are differences with primers out there in the world, I have found, no doubt about it. So just kind of gingerly get these set up here. Let's see. Looks like we got a couple here. Seeing these large pistol primers, it reminds me it's been a while since I've loaded some 45 ACP. Where'd my lid go? Oh, there it is. And just double checking to make sure everything is pointed directly up. And haven't used this tool for a while, so we'll kind of see how it goes. There we go. All right, here we go. I always like to kind of point the, keep my face out of there just in case anything would go kaboom. Looking good. How's that look? I think it seated it just fine. Yeah, this priming tool is still working pretty good. So pretty happy with that. So we'll go ahead and get these all primed up. And we'll see how everything goes. But so far, everything is looking good. No issues. Shouldn't take me more than 10-15 minutes to do this. And there's a lot of different, I've experimented with different hand priming tools out there. And so far, you know, this original Lee tool actually worked pretty good over the years. I think the small pistol primer tray I've kind of worn out a fair bit from using so much. And I've tried different tools, RCBS, that tool. There's a lot of people that love that tool, but it just wasn't jiving with me. I don't know. I did not kind of like the feel of it. And then the other one I tried was the Frankfurt Arsenal hand priming tool. And I think that's my worst rated video I have ever done over 3 years on YouTube. I did a negative review on it and everybody just hated it. But I just had nothing but trouble with the tool. It just would not work. So, you know. But anyways, I moved to that RCBS bench mounted tool. You can check out the review on my channel. It's out there in one of the playlists, and yeah, it's an outstanding tool. It's so easy to use and so simple. And these hand priming tools, they'll work okay. But, you know, probably at some point, if you do enough of this stuff, you'll want to move to some sort of bench-mounted system, or, you know, like on the progressive press, you prime on the press anyways. There's a lot of people that prime on the single-stage presses, but I've never liked that. Just kind of not my thing. So there you go. Everything's flowing along smoothly. So that'll wrap it up for this video. And for next time, we're going to get into figuring out what load we're going to use for powder and our overall length and all that sort of stuff for this. And then we'll get into dropping the powder, seating the bullet, and crimping, and that'll be the next video. And then the following video after that, we'll actually be taking it out to the range and testing them out and see how we go with it. So, yep, this should wrap it up for this, and things are going good, and we'll see you all next time.